Welcome to The Great War Chronicles, a podcast series that takes you on a journey through the harrowing and inspiring stories of World War I. Through the voices of those who lived it, we bring to life the experiences, emotions, and sacrifices of a generation caught in the midst of one of the greatest conflicts in history. The storm clouds gathered on the horizon, but amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a flicker of optimism remained. Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria, bound by their shared vision and determination, stood as beacons of hope in a world teetering on the brink. Their clandestine meetings continued in the shadows, away from prying eyes and listening ears. Count Rudolph pulled strings, utilizing his diplomatic prowess to orchestrate secret negotiations and peace talks. Lady Victoria became a master of disguise, slipping between social gatherings and diplomatic receptions, gathering vital information and rallying support for their cause. Their alliance grew stronger with each passing day. They were joined by a motley crew of diplomats, intellectuals, and influential figures who shared their belief in the power of diplomacy over bloodshed. Together, they formed an underground network, working tirelessly to navigate the treacherous waters of politics and diplomacy, all in the name of peace. Their actions were not without risk. The shadows of suspicion loomed large over their every move. Count Rudolph, in particular, attracted the attention of powerful figures who saw his peace advocacy as a threat to their ambitions. He became a target of clandestine surveillance and smear campaigns, but he remained undeterred. Meanwhile, Lady Victoria's covert operations led her down dangerous paths. She faced close calls, narrowly escaping the clutches of those who sought to silence her and the movement she represented. But her resolve never wavered. The stakes were too high, the consequences of failure too dire. As their movement gained traction, whispers of their endeavors spread like wildfire. From the chambers of power to the trenches of the front lines, tales of a secret alliance working to end the bloodshed reached the ears of war-weary soldiers and weary civilians alike. It became a ray of hope in a world consumed by darkness. The clandestine movement for peace became a source of inspiration and motivation. Countless individuals touched by the stories of Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria's courage joined the cause, each playing their part in the pursuit of a better future. Their efforts culminated in a pivotal moment, a covert gathering of diplomats held in the depths of a secluded mansion. Representatives from warring nations came together, driven by a shared belief that there must be an alternative to the devastating path they were on. Count Rudolph, standing before the assembled diplomats, delivered a passionate plea for peace. He painted a vivid picture of the horrors that awaited them should they continue down the path of destruction. He spoke of the countless lives lost, the shattered families, and the irreparable damage that war would inflict on the world. His words struck a chord, stirring the hearts and minds of those in attendance. The silence that followed was deafening, as the weight of their decisions hung heavy in the air. It was a moment of reckoning, a moment where the course of history could be altered. And in that room, amidst the flickering candlelight and tense anticipation, a consensus began to form. The diplomats, who were once sworn enemies, saw a glimmer of possibility in Count Rudolph's words. They recognized that the pursuit of peace was not a sign of weakness, but an act of bravery and wisdom. The clandestine movement had succeeded in its mission. A groundbreaking ceasefire agreement was reached, marking the first step towards ending the bloodshed. The war did not end immediately, but the seeds of peace had been planted, and they would eventually bear fruit. Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria, their faces etched with a mix of exhaustion and relief, stood side by side as the diplomats erupted into applause. It was a moment of triumph, a testament to the power of determination and the indomitable human spirit. But their work was far from over. The peace they had fought so hard to achieve needed to be solidified, nurtured, and protected. Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria, along with their dedicated network of diplomats, set out on a new mission to ensure that the fragile peace they had forged would endure. They became advocates for reconciliation, traveling across war-torn regions, meeting with local leaders, and encouraging dialogue between former adversaries. Their tireless efforts aimed to heal the wounds of war and lay the foundation for a more peaceful future. Amidst the ruins and rubble, they discovered stories of unlikely friendships that had emerged amidst the chaos. Soldiers from opposing sides had laid down their weapons and found common ground, sharing meals and stories, united by the shared experience of war's horrors. These stories became the backbone of their campaign for lasting peace. Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria, together with their network, captured these stories, documenting the humanity that had transcended the boundaries of conflict. Their writings and testimonies inspired millions around the world, reminding them that even in the darkest times, compassion and understanding could prevail. As the war slowly drew to a close, Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria dedicated themselves to the task of rebuilding. They championed initiatives that aimed to mend the broken societies and shattered economies left in the wake of the conflict. They rallied support for the wounded, the displaced, and the grieving, recognizing that true peace extended beyond the absence of war. Their tireless efforts garnered global recognition. Count Rudolph and Lady Victoria became symbols of hope, their names synonymous with resilience and the unwavering belief in the power of diplomacy. They were awarded prestigious honors for their contributions to peace, but for them, the greatest reward was seeing the world heal and move towards a brighter future.